Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Hauling with Hyper. Thank you for coming today and hanging out with yo boy. Now, like I said last time, today we're going to start focusing a bit more on stacking missions. If you've been grinding out those rookie hauling contracts and building up some aUEC, then by now you should have unlocked the junior hauling missions. And this is where hauling really starts to open up a little bit for us. Bigger payouts, more flexibility, and the ability to stack missions that share the same pickup and drop-off locations, which let us maximize our time and our profits. Now, before we even load anything up, one thing I want to mention is this. When you are choosing these missions, always pay attention to how many SU each contract requires and compare that to your ship's cargo capacity. You do not want to overload, and you definitely don't want to have to make multiple trips for one single delivery if you can avoid it. We're starting here at Everus Harbor. First, we've got 5 SU of carbon going to Sun Magnolia Work Center. This is our only out-of-the-way stop for today. I chose this one because it also has us taking 4 SU of carbon and 9 SU of quartz to Cassillo, so it makes sense to bundle these together. Now, quick tip, when you're loading up, it's always important to stay organized. Since Sun Magnolia is our first stop, I'm going to put that cargo on top and Cassillo on the bottom. That way we're not moving things around later and wasting time. Coming up on Sun Magnolia, one thing to mention here, at places like this, these distribution centers, I always like to call for a hangar myself. It lets me load and unload inside in a safer and more controlled environment.
Landing complete. Have a pleasant stay.
Off to Cassillo. Here at our second stop at Cassillo, I landed and then I decided to back the ship up closer to the elevator. This is going to be our largest cargo load of the trip, and parking here makes it a lot easier to access both sides of the ship when loading. We're stacking again. From here, we're picking up 8 SCU of pressurized ice, 13 processed food, 9 quantum fuel, 5 hydrogen fuel, 5 ship ammunition, and 14 SCU of stems, and all of this is going to be going to Apari. Since everything's going to the same place, it doesn't really matter where we put it on the ship, just as long as it fits. It's going to be tight at 54 SCUs, but we should be okay. Alright, everything loaded up, plenty of space for this run. Let's head out to Apari and start unloading. Apparently, there's no sun on Hurston today. Sheesh. I didn't know I was signing up for the night shift. Alright, we're all offloaded. We're going to pick up our final run from here at Apari back to Cassillo, and it's 13 SCU of iron ore. Like I said before, I usually prefer a hangar at these locations, but if you want to save a bit of time and you're not too worried about other players, you can always stop at one of the external elevators here on the surface. Just remember, you got to keep your head on a swivel and don't waste too much time. This is another thing to consider when you're loading and unloading on the surface. You have to deal with the elements. This wind is crazy. What? Mission complete. Let's get out of here. Alright, just to recap today's deliveries. Again, first we started at Everus Harbor. We picked up 5 SCU of carbon to Sun Magnolia Work Center, 4 SCU of carbon, and 9 quartz to Cassillo. That brought in a total of 111,750 aUEC. From Cassillo, we delivered 8 pressurized ice, 13 processed food, 9 quantum fuel, 5 hydrogen fuel, 5 ship ammunition, and 14 stems, bringing our total to 174,000 aUEC for this drop-off. And finally, we picked up the 13 iron ore and delivered it back to Cassillo for 52,500 aUEC, bringing our grand total to 338,250 aUEC in about 40 minutes to load, haul, and unload. Now, keep in mind there were more deliveries available at these locations, but this was pretty close to the max capacity that my ship could handle for this loop. As we continue on, I'll keep stacking missions like this, advancing our reputation with these hauling companies, and build up our bank. Next time, we're going to start looking at trading some commodities with that capital that we've earned so far, and we'll talk through how that works. But overall, I think this was pretty great progress. We'll be upgrading our ship before we know it. But I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you're still watching, just know I really appreciate you. And I love you to death, and we'll see you in the next episode.